You know, guys, for years, EFF maintained a position that we never benefited from VBS. We never got a single cent from VBS. You remember that press conference, the president of EFF, Julius Malema, telling the journalists that we even directed our Treasurer General to look in our books to see if EFF received any money from VBS, and she came back and told us that VBS never sent EFF nothing. The deputy president of EFF, Floyd Shivambu, maintained the same position that this whole thing, it is starting to sound ridiculous. Why are you guys trying to hold us accountable of the collapse of VBS? EFF had nothing to do with the collapse of VBS. I mean, recently we just learned through a leaked affidavit of a former chair of VBS, the mastermind behind the collapse of VBS, telling the NPA that this is how, or this is the role that was played by the EFF in the collapse of VBS. The EFF learned that we loaned Jacob Zuma millions of rands, and they started making noise about it. And we basically gave these people money so that they can stop talking about the loan that we gave to Jacob Zuma. Tsifiwa Matodi basically told the South Africans that EFF's political muscle is for hire. And the supporters of EFF, they came at the defense of their leadership. They told the South Africans that this affidavit means nothing. I have been told time and time again that, Thomas, do not fall for this affidavit. This affidavit means nothing. This is a desperate man who has been sentenced to jail. And this person will say anything to save himself. He will say anything to get out of jail. This person will even sell his own mother to get out of jail. This is what the EFF supporters basically said. But now it is starting to look like the EFF is trying to walk back on everything that they said about VBS. So I'm going to try to jog your memory a bit. And I want you to remember what the deputy president of EFF said about VBS.
The EFF has never been involved with VBS, and we've never benefited anything from VBS. And that is the EFF has never been involved with VBS, and we've never benefited anything from VBS. And that is a final position. And the good thing, the EFF has never been involved with VBS, and we've never benefited anything from VBS. And that is a final position. And the good thing about this is that not even one of the law enforcement agencies has ever brought an inquiry to the extent that seeks to question whether the EFF was involved or not, because they all have admitted that the EFF was not involved. Not the Reserve Bank, not the Hawks, not the NPA, not the special crimes process and courts and everything else there. There is not a single law enforcement agency that is dignifying the imaginations of Polifan Veik and the Daily Maverick. It's their own creations because they want to create a public discourse that seek to delegitimize the integrity and standing of the EFF. And we're tired of clarifying nonsense. We're not going to do that as the EFF. We're busy. We're focusing on bigger battles that we know we're going to ultimately emerge victorious.
This is our final position.
The EFF has never been involved with VBS, and we've never benefited anything from VBS. And that is a final position. And the good thing about this is that Not even one of the law enforcement agencies has ever brought an inquiry to the extent that seeks to question whether the EFF was involved or not, because they all have admitted that the EFF was not involved. Not the Reserve Bank, not the Hawks, not the NPA, not the special crimes process and courts and everything else there. There is not a single law enforcement agency that is dignifying the imaginations of Paul van Wyk and the Dali Mpofu. It's their own creations because they want to create a public discourse that seek to delegitimize the integrity and standing of the EFF. And we're tired of clarifying nonsense.
So this is what the deputy president of EFF, Floyd Shivambu, once said. And guys, remember, this is what he said, that we are tired of clarifying nonsense because the EFF never benefited anything from VBS. I want you to listen to what the president of EFF, Julius Malema, said in 2020 when he was asked about VBS.
That the people who should be interrogating you, in essence, should be those who've dug through the forensic evidence behind the VBS story. Now, as a party, what you're putting to us is that you handle it pretty much the same way as you're handling this, and maybe that's where the gap is, you know? As opposed to hearing each other's side of the story, maybe do the digging, you know? When we ask about donations to EFF, for instance, you said there were no donations. Are you basing that on having gone through the books because that might have been reflected in the report, or is it because you said to each other, well, actually there were no donations?
No, the Treasurer General was asked to go and look into EFF bank statements to check if there were donations from VBS, and her report was clear. There are no donations from the VBS.
No, but at this moment.
This is what Julius Malema said, the president of EFF.
No, the Treasurer General was asked to go and look into EFF bank statements to check if there were donations from VBS, and her report was clear. There are no donations from the VBS.
So there were no donations. There were no donations. The EFF never received any donations from VBS. These are the words of the president of EFF, Julius Malema. So the reason why I made this video is because last night, basically, Dali Mpofu went on the newsroom, and what he said totally contradicts what Floyd Shivambu and Julius Malema said. Because according to Dali Mpofu, EFF did receive the donations from VBS. And what kinds of donations are they? To start with, if you were to go on national television and say that the EFF received donations from VBS, and at the same time the president of the party tells you that the Treasurer General could not find any donations of VBS in EFF's bank accounts, what kind of donations were they? What kind of donations were they? Dali Mpofu completely contradicted the leadership of EFF last night. I don't know how the EFF is going to put out this fire.
This time that the EFF party
No, but
I don't know how the EFF is going to put out this fire.
Mr. Tebogo
yeah.
just
So I want you to listen to Dali Mpofu making it clear and basically telling South Africans that yes, the EFF received donations from VBS.
all right. So before I move to Mr. Tebogo,
Yeah.
just for the record,
Right.
there is no denial this time that the EFF party did receive funds from VBS.
No, there's never been a denial of that. What this
Dali Mpofu says that there has never been a denial of that. There has never been a denial of EFF receiving.
At this moment,
There has never been a denial of EFF receiving the donations from VBS.
No donations.
No, the Treasurer General was asked to go and look into EFF bank statements to check if there were donations from VBS. And her report was clear, there are no donations from the VBS.
All right. So before I move to Mr. Tebogo,
Yeah.
just for the record,
Right.
there is no denial this time that the EFF party did receive funds from VBS.
No, there's never been a denial of that. That's why I'm saying there's nothing new. There's always been there are two. Okay, I was saying there are three things. The third thing is the loan, and that's what has always been in the public domain. Now, so you must separate what he calls a donation, which is what happens to political parties. There's no political party that doesn't receive donations. You see, let me assist you, Xoli. What is being said here is that there's corruption, okay? So I say, where's the corruption? Where's the fraud? And where's the money laundering or any crime? And let me assist you. If let's take the worst case scenario. Let's say the guy says, okay, I'll give you a donation. He doesn't say that, but I'm just making it up. Let's say he says, I'll give you a donation if you stop criticizing me. Let's assume he said that. He didn't even say that. Even if he said that, so what? Because it's not a crime to criticize someone on a public platform or not to criticize them for that matter.
So basically, Dali Mpofu is saying that we know that right now the former chair of VBS said that the only reason why the EFF was given money is because they were busy making noise about the loan that was given to Jacob Zuma. So EFF was given hush money to stop talking about the loan that was given to Jacob Zuma. So Dali Mpofu says there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with EFF receiving the money, the hush money from VBS. And he says that it's a donation. And he says that this is something that it has been on a public platform. Like, where was it? He says that it has been there on the public domain. I mean, like, why would people talk about the EFF receiving money from VBS when they know for a fact that EFF received money from VBS? The only reason why it is such a huge scandal is because the leadership of EFF said they never got a single cent from VBS. This is the only reason why this whole thing is a scandal. So for Dali Mpofu to say that, no, it has been there in the public domain that EFF got donations from VBS. No, it has not. It has not. It has not. It has not.
So it's not as an exchange for any corruption. What was the EFF going to get in return for not criticizing him, which happens, as I say, every time companies engage. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, I was accused of having met with Maria Ramos because we had threatened to march to APSA. And her people came, it was not her, by the way, but her people did come to my office to say, look, we want to explain the reason why you want to march and so on. And I listened to them, and that was it.
Like these are two completely different things, because the people came to your office and they spoke with you and maybe probably told you why you shouldn't march to Standard Bank, but they didn't give you any money. They didn't give you money so that you guys cannot march to Standard Bank. But here with the EFF, it's a completely different story, because the former chair of VBS says that we gave EFF money so that they can stop talking about this loan that we gave to Jacob Zuma. These are two different things. So I don't know what is it that Dali Mpofu was trying to explain. I don't know what is it that he was trying to explain. But fact of the matter is that he admitted at last that EFF got something from VBS, despite the leadership of EFF for years telling South Africans that we never got a single cent from VBS. Dali Mpofu went on national television and actually told the South Africans that yes, we got a donation from VBS. So, if EFF is a political party that actually prides itself with representing poor black people of this country, why would the EFF take a donation from VBS, knowing very well that this is a bank that has money of people that are vulnerable? Why would you take money from VBS, knowing very well that the poor black people put their money into this bank? Why would you take a donation from such a bank? And if you take this donation, why didn't this donation reflect in the EFF bank statements? Because if VBS gives EFF donation, the money should be there in the bank statement. But the money was not there in the bank statement. So why should they be shell companies to get this donation from VBS? Isn't it suspicious that the money never went from VBS straight to EFF bank accounts? Isn't it suspicious? Man, I don't know how they are going to spin this one. I don't know how they are going to spin this one. And Dali Mpofu is again doing the interviews. I heard that he also did an interview today on SAFM. And people are practically begging the EFF leadership to stop sending Dali Mpofu to do these interviews because he's making everything worse. And now he made everything worse. Because after years of denial, he finally told the South Africans that yes, EFF got something from VBS. Man, please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye bye.